Well, well, well. What happened to CrunchyRoll L? What happened to boycott CrunchyRoll? What happened to everybody is unsubscribing and CrunchyRoll is going downhill? Because we have a new report, and I was in the toilet scrolling during my intermission and I saw this headline and I was pretty shocked. CrunchyRoll reports 1.239 billion yen in net profit. This is not revenue, this is profit, meaning if you made $100,000 over the year, but you have to pay your employees $40,000, your profit will be $60,000. That's what the profit is. 8.5 mil. Who knows what the relative amount was before, but we got some more details leading up. For the fiscal year ending in December 2024. GameBiz.jp. All right, let's read the article, guys. Yokoso. Watashi no Soul Society Bankai. I can't read Japanese, guys, but it's okay because we have the comment sections to read. So thank you to Mazan141, the poster of this. This is a post from 2 hours ago on the anime subreddit. That's very recent and new. So their return earnings are 186 million yen, and their total assets are 11.2 billion yen. So Crunchyroll's like net valuation, everything that they encompass, their value is 11.2 billion yen. What does that translate to in USD? 77.6 mil. All right. So for comparison, let's look at the previous year's numbers. 2021 net loss of 237.7 yen. Retained negative 266. Total assets 6.1 billion. So that was about 4 years ago. 2022 net loss of 497. 2023 data not available, kinda sus. And these numbers come from Japanese official gazette. Doesn't parentheses indicate the negative number loss? Am I missing something? So they always put brackets around that number, and usually next to it is either bloom net loss or net income. In this case, it's net profit. So not exactly sure why they put that number in particular in brackets still. Maybe someone else can answer that, and so on. Another price increase incoming. Oh boy. To be honest, I'm fine with another price increase if they decide to do it. The amount of what I watch on Crunchyroll is infinitely higher than any other media platform aside from maybe YouTube. And bro got ratioed. And this is why they never improve anything. And I think that these two comments, and I'm not here to like dunk on Goldie Bowen 21, but I think it is interesting to understand perspective of other people. This is a paying customer. And here's another comment too, right? Wait, why people were boycotting Crunchyroll? Well, people aren't necessarily boycotting Crunchyroll, but it's more of Crunchyroll recently has been very, very downhill. In terms of their services, it's been ass. Why? They're constantly removing catalogs, the series from their catalogs, right? They've gotten rid of features such as the comment section due to their inability to actually moderate or invest the team into the moderation team, right? So they got rid of all comments ever since that, BL anime got a lot of hate, and that was the last straw that broke its back. What else? The constant wrong subs and translations, but not even just wrong translations. They fuck up intentionally by having like quote unquote woke agendas. So people that are really engulfed in Western, leftist policies and ideologies, when it comes to like some risque things regarding fan service and stuff, right? Like 2.5 DDD, I think, was an example a season or two back when basically they completely changed the context of the dialogue and changed it into something more like PG-13, something not what the author envisioned it, right? So whenever people are going out of the way to basically erase the vision of the author and change the interpretation of the dialogue to fit in whatever agenda they have because they're just anti-fan service or whatever, that's also a really bad thing, right? And this is just service side issues, right? These are like when you're interacting with the platform and you're having a bad experience. Not only that, then they have negative PR, highlighted by even like the mail theft one. Remember this one, guys? Anyone remember Crunchyroll mail theft? Crunchyroll mail theft. Remember this one? Like, this is about a year ago, about half a year ago. A voice actor, he was completely like fucked because fans were sending in, fan mails, and Crunchyroll apparently were just taking it and not even letting the voice actor know. And anytime Crunchyroll is involved in drama like this, they have a really bad reputation. They don't know how to manage it well, and they constantly fuck up. And I don't know what's going on with that, but the voice actor drama was definitely real. What else happened? Recently, there has been a little bit of pain points regarding Takamine-san, right? So, Takamine-san, careful with this, but the fan service anime Takamine-san, I know that Crunchyroll themselves are not behind actually censoring the anime episodes, but they are distributing it, and there has been constant delays back to back to back weeks, multiple times, because they just don't know how to fucking plan ahead. And these are just tip of the icebergs, right? Right now, I'm trying to like grasp or straws on anything recently that I've been reminded of what's going on with Crunchyroll, but these are all the negative things. But despite all these negative things that I've mentioned, and the chronically online unemployed people like us saying boycott Crunchyroll, Crunchyroll L, unsubscribe, why even use this? They are still having a net profit. So let's go back to this comment, right? Rather than dunking on this guy and telling him like he's a corporate shill that he's just licking the boots, I think that it's important to understand the perspectives of other people. When you are so rallied up and you think that whatever is happening in your little bubble, your little echo chamber, you've seen Chibi's videos, you've seen my reaction to Chibi videos of us being very critical of Crunchyroll and basically trying to spread propaganda that this is the downfall of Crunchyroll. Sometimes that's not the case, because this person is a paying customer and they're perfectly fine with paying more if another price increase is coming. Why does this person even say another price increase is coming? Well, if they're able to get away with this and people are still spending money on Crunchyroll and they're having a profit, which compared to the previous, and right now, this is a bit kind of sus in how they report their data, because they have net loss of this much yen, right? They have net loss of this much yen. They don't really talk about net profit, and 2023 is not even visible. Net loss, maybe I'm wrong about this and maybe I'm misinterpreting this, but when you have net loss, isn't that literally saying, let's say like you have, again, the whole term of profits, right? Profit is revenue minus the operational cost at the end of the year. If you made $100,000 in that year, but again, you had to have an operational cost of 40K, you're now 60K in profit. When you're reporting a net loss, it means that you have spent more than the revenue. That's my interpretation of this. So far, leading up to 2025, so 2024, right? They have been minus. Literally, the revenue they're making is not exceeding the amount it costs to, let's say, host their servers and pay their employees and whatever. So they are literally in the positives right now. Despite, and these are, by the way, when Crunchyroll wasn't really that much in the hot seat either, right? Only in the last 2 years or so, I'd say around here, is when people were starting to really get upset at Crunchyroll, yet they are trending upwards, which means that, again, the reality that we live in is not the reality that other people live in. There are plenty of happy customers that are perfectly fine with Crunchyroll, and that's why I tell you guys, it's so important to understand what is real and the perspective of the average person. The average person does not care about this voice actor drama with the mail theft going on. The average person probably doesn't even engage in the comment section. In fact, when Crunchyroll removed the comments, I remember making a comment, no pun intended, that I don't think that the average person watching anime through Crunchyroll even engages with the comment section or even thought about commenting. Why? Well, it's just a little bit of a assumption, because on my YouTube videos as well, right? So many people are watching. I'm not going to say so many people are watching, but of the people watching, about 10% of people actually engage to like the video. And the comment section is even less than that. So I just think that there is some sort of consistency in the people's behavior to literally engage and like or comment. Therefore, I said removing the comment section, yes, it sucks. Yes, it's kind of hindering its ability to, foster a community on the platform and have people, trying to represent their voices about their episodes. But most people don't really care about it. And I think this upward trend is highlighting that. Please explain to an idiot, is this good? It is actually good. Again, good for who? Good for Crunchyroll. They don't generally turn profit at all because they're investing back into themselves and their catalog. A bit like how Netflix posted losses for years and years, but eventually paid off when they had a large stable library to call their own and weren't risk at the people pulling licenses much. And here's another thing too. Remember this? I don't know if you guys were remembering this, but Netflix password, right? Netflix password change. Maybe if I do drama. Basically, a lot of people use Netflix, and Netflix themselves, even in the past, were very pro password sharing. What does that mean? There's only one account, and people are sharing that account, and instead of having 5 people buy Netflix, account subscriptions, you have only maybe one person that can be shared among 5 people. Obviously, that's bad for Netflix in terms of making more money, right? So they decided to get rid of password sharing. They cracked down on it, and a lot of people are very critical of this situation, saying, listen, if you do this and you piss people off, people will simply leave the platform. Yet, if we look at Netflix's profits over the last year, last forever, you see this shit? Literally doesn't matter. It is the highest it's ever been. The Netflix drama stuff, I think it happened somewhere around here, but even then, like, this is obviously a lot of companies during this time had like sort of like infinite growth because of COVID and people being locked in and online businesses going up and low interest rates for borrowing money, and a lot of things happened, and a lot of people also crashed during this time. This is kind of evident for a lot of companies, but the fact that they are higher than ever truly shows that this is what the common person behaves. No matter if you're doing password sharing, no matter how much you're seemingly fucking up, in the eyes of Determinedly Online for CrunchyRoll, they are still doing well. And there's this other term called this as well. What the market will bear. And this is a phrase that is utilized to kind of like highlight user behavior. So, charging what the market will bear means setting the price of a product or service at the highest level customers are willing to pay. AKA, like Twitch, for example, has done this too with their subscription increase recently. But what the market will bear literally means how much can I increase the prices while at the same time retaining people, or at the least maintaining or even exceeding profits, right? Like, how much can I increase the prices? And some people may leave, but at the end of the day, enough people are sticking around and still paying that premium such that they are still making more money than ever. And I believe CrunchyRoll is kind of doing that, right? I mean, the price increases will most likely have people being pissed off, but if they're able to be in a positive trajectory and report even further profits next year, then it'll basically mean that, listen, this is what the market is willing to bear. We have not exceeded that threshold just yet. A lot of people may claim to be angry online, but the average person is willing to still pay more and more for the services. And I think this guy's comment, no matter how you hate this comment, no matter how you hate this mindset, this is some people's perspective and maybe even indicative of a greater majority out there. Let's see some other stuff. That's really surprising considering they fucking suck at deliveries and region locking, and the Hydra sites are still alive and doing well. Well, yeah, because again, the people who comment in subreddits like this and people who are even aware of the CrunchyRoll drama are a very, very insignificant, pool, right? And I always like to do this. Remember, we are kind of like here, right? We are the Chronically Online, and we're kind of like over here and thinking, wow, we are so, important. Wow, look at us, right? But if you look at it, the greater population of people may exist like out here, right? Maybe like something like boom, I don't know. Just an arbitrary circle that I'm drawing, just to kind of show you that like you don't even know, like maybe there is an overlap here, right? Maybe there is like an overlap of some people over there, but what if you are so focused thinking that like your entire reality isn't this red part, and you zoom out and realize there's this many people who don't even know, who don't even care about that, right? And whenever I have like revenue reports, profits or numbers, because numbers don't lie. There are ways to lie about numbers and a very disingenuous way to report said numbers. A profit after years of losses is just a fact that they're still doing well. I stepped away from anime for years and returned in February. Since February, I've seen a bunch of series and even bought physical copies of some. Great. All right. And I would like to buy some more. But if I can compare movie collecting with buying anime is a lot more expensive and it's hard to get. Yeah, that's why I don't like buying physical copies. It's just annoying overhead. Some people like having, some people have like a collector's mindset and want to like hoard a bunch of artifacts, relics, figurines, blah, 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 physical copies of manga and whatnot. For me, I've never been like that. I'm I'm a very minimalist person, and it's easier for me if I have like an online, catalog, and it's just more accessible. But yeah, these companies keep dividing seasons part 1 and part 2 and charge an average of, that's just good business, right? Like, why would they sell like, and I heard about this in Blu-ray DVD too, where a season of anime is not sold in one Blu-ray DVD. You have 3 fucking separate like DVDs to encompass one season, because obviously that's how you make more money, right? And if you are a collector, if you are like this top tier audience where you're like the high roller, right? It's in their best interest to basically incentivize you to buy every one of them. I thought they made a 1 billion, so Netflix is making $2 an anime is also wrong. I don't know what you're trying to say here. And they don't deserve a single cent of that. They improve nothing in years, but there's literally no other choice if you want to watch most shows. Sad state of affairs. Hard disagree. I think Crunchyroll is actually doing great. They have improved over the years. Only complaints I have are the removal of the comments and the entirety of the anime awards. And it's also interesting, huh? You would think that anytime people talk about Crunchyroll bad, people would upvote it. And anytime people glaze Crunchyroll, people would downvote it. Me, I don't use Crunchyroll, so I can't really talk on behalf of the, a Crunchyroll user to kind of like say, yes, my experience has been good, or yes or no, my experience has been bad. But these are people who actively use it. And again, removing of comments, yes, it does suck. Sometimes they have fucked up subs. Sometimes the subs are wrong entirely. But the average person doesn't really care about that. And it really does show that this is indicative of such a vocal minority complaining about Crunchyroll, when at the end of the day, Crunchyroll is doing perfectly fine, at least in terms of numbers. This is bad. Getting downvoted, but 8 million is literally peanuts. What is this, bro? I like to look at some of the comments down here. That's an insanely low number. It's about what Japanese anime make a single day in Japan. It doesn't matter. Also, this is profits, not revenue. And what matters, I think, is the upward trajectory, right? The fact that they have been reporting net losses constantly. 2023, who the hell knows what happened? Maybe you could say that they did some really sus shit, and the 2024 report or data that is very disingenuously represented by somehow combining numbers and metrics from 2023. But I don't know if it truly is the case that after years of losses, they're finally turning profit, despite all of the bad press that content creators has been doing for Crunchyroll. I think that we should be very, what's the word? You should be aware of reality. Never get so just like bottlenecked up in your little echo chambers thinking, oh, Crunchyroll bad, they must be doing bad. What is this? Numbers are good. It's the same thing of like getting mad at like, what's the word? Anime, like Crunchyroll Anime Awards, right? It's like, why would this happen? No, you gotta think about, why is this happening? What is the perspective of the average person, watching these shows, or, their experience on Crunchyroll? And Crunchyroll is finding a delicate balance in, again, what the market will bear, and they're getting away with it. And I'm not here to say unsubscribe from Crunchyroll, we gotta boycott Crunchyroll, but just to kind of give you guys like a chill awakening, just a chill reminder that like, hey, this is the reality. What do you guys think about it?